Addressing the issue of flooring professionals connecting their equipment directly to the service panel requires a multifaceted approach, primarily centered around safety and code compliance. Directly connecting equipment like floor sanders to the service panel using methods like alligator clips onto lugs without proper overcurrent protection is a significant electrical hazard and a violation of established safety standards. Firstly, communicate the safety concerns clearly and firmly. Explain the risks associated with this practice. The primary hazard is the absence of overcurrent protection. A circuit breaker or fuse is designed to interrupt the flow of electricity when the current exceeds a safe level, preventing overheating, fires, and equipment damage. Connecting directly to the service bypasses this protection. If a short circuit or overload occurs in the floor sander or cord, the full available fault current from the service will flow, potentially causing a rapid and intense electrical fire. Secondly, emphasize the potential for electrical fires and injuries. The unprotected connection can lead to severe burns or electrocution if someone comes into contact with a faulty wire or energized equipment. The lack of grounding can also create a shock hazard. Thirdly, provide alternative solutions to the flooring professionals. Suggest using a temporary power circuit with appropriately sized circuit breakers. This ensures that the sander is protected by overcurrent protection. A ground fault circuit interrupter or GFCI protected outlet adds another layer of safety, especially in damp or potentially wet locations. GFCIs are designed to quickly interrupt the circuit if they detect a leakage current to ground, preventing electrical shock. Fourthly, provide documentation or resources to support your reasoning. Refer to the National Electrical Code, specifically articles related to temporary wiring, overcurrent protection, and grounding. For example, NEC Article 305.4 covers the requirements for overcurrent protection of temporary wiring installations. NEC Article 250 provides requirements for grounding and bonding, which are crucial for electrical safety. Fifthly, enforce safety protocols consistently. Establish clear guidelines and expectations for the use of electrical equipment on the job site. Inform all workers, including the flooring professionals, that they must use safe and approved methods of connection. This might mean providing readily accessible temporary power distribution boxes with circuit breakers and GFCI protection. Sixthly, consider denying access to the site if unsafe practices continue. This sends a clear message that safety is a priority. It might seem harsh, but it's necessary to protect the safety of everyone on site and to avoid potential liability. Seventhly, document every conversation you have with the flooring professionals regarding this issue. Include the date, time, names of people involved, and the details of the discussion. Keep records of any warnings issued and any alternative solutions offered. This documentation is crucial if an incident occurs or if you need to escalate the issue to a higher authority. Eighthly, if the flooring professionals continue to disregard your safety concerns, escalate the matter to the contractor or project manager. Explain the risks clearly and request their support in enforcing the safety protocols. They have a responsibility to ensure a safe working environment for all personnel on the job site. Ninthly, ensure compliance with all applicable electrical codes and regulations. Consult local building codes and electrical regulations to determine the specific requirements for temporary electrical installations and equipment connections on construction sites. Understanding and adhering to these regulations is essential for maintaining a safer and compliant work environment. Tenthly, before allowing the flooring professionals to use their equipment, inspect their cords, connections, and grounding for any signs of damage or deficiencies. Look for frayed cords, cracked insulation, and loose connections. Ensure that the equipment is properly grounded. Any equipment with defects should be removed from service immediately until repaired or replaced. 11thly, ensure that the temporary circuit or outlet you provide has sufficient capacity to handle the load of the floor sander. Check the sander's nameplate for its voltage, amperage, and power requirements. Use a circuit breaker and wiring that are adequately sized for the load, taking into account any other equipment that may be connected to the same circuit. For example, if the floor sander requires 15 amps at 120 volts, use a 20 amp circuit breaker and 12 American wire gauge wire to provide adequate capacity and prevent overheating. 12thly, educate and inform the flooring professionals about electrical safety and the importance of following proper procedures. Explain the potential consequences of unsafe practices, such as electrical fires, injuries, and equipment damage. Provide them with resources and materials that reinforce the message. This could include safety brochures, training videos, or online resources. 13thly, consider offering training sessions on electrical safety for all workers on the job site. This will help to raise awareness of electrical hazards and promote safe work practices. The training should cover topics such as proper use of extension cords, grounding, overcurrent protection, and lockout-tagout procedures. 14thly, never assume that workers are aware of the electrical hazards present on the job site. Even experienced workers may have developed unsafe habits over time. Regularly reinforce the importance of electrical safety and provide ongoing training to keep workers informed and up to date on the latest safety practices. 15thly, if you are unsure about any aspect of electrical safety, consult with a qualified electrician. They can provide expert advice and guidance on how to ensure a safe and compliant work environment. Don't hesitate to ask for help when you need it. It's always better to be safe than sorry when it comes to electricity. 16thly, maintain a safety-first culture on the job site. Encourage workers to report any electrical hazards or unsafe practices they observe. Create a system for addressing safety concerns promptly and effectively. Make it clear that safety is everyone's responsibility. 17thly, in the 2014 National Electrical Code, several articles are particularly relevant to this situation. NEC Article 305 covers temporary electrical power and wiring methods for construction, demolition, modification, repair, and similar activities. It outlines the requirements for overcurrent protection, grounding, and GFCI protection of temporary wiring systems. NEC Article 250 provides comprehensive requirements for grounding and bonding electrical systems. It covers the proper methods for grounding equipment, bonding metal parts, and connecting to the earth. NEC Article 400 addresses flexible cords and cables, including their uses, limitations, and ampacity ratings. It specifies the types of cords that are permitted for different applications and the requirements for their protection and support. NEC Article 590 covers the installation of temporary wiring for decorative lighting, carnivals, fairs, and similar purposes. It includes requirements for overcurrent protection, grounding, and GFCI protection. 18thly, additional safety measures can be implemented to further mitigate the risks associated with temporary electrical installations. Use cord reels with built-in overcurrent protection. These reels automatically shut off the power if the cord is overloaded, preventing overheating and fires. Use GFCI protected extension cords. These cords provide additional protection against electrical shock, especially in wet or damp locations. Implement a lockout-tagout program for electrical equipment. This program ensures that equipment is energized and locked out before any maintenance or repair work is performed. Use insulated tools and equipment. Insulated tools and equipment provide protection against electrical shock. 19thly, regularly inspect and maintain all electrical equipment and wiring. Look for signs of damage such as frayed cords, cracked insulation, and loose connections. Repair or replace any damaged equipment immediately. Keep electrical panels and equipment enclosures clean and free of obstructions. This allows for proper ventilation and prevents overheating. 20thly, consider using a portable generator with built-in GFCI protection to power the floor sander. This eliminates the need to connect to the building's electrical system and provides a safe and reliable source of power. Ensure that the generator is properly grounded and that the exhaust fumes are vented away from occupied areas. 21stly, another crucial aspect is the ampacity of the conductors. For instance, 10 American wire gauge copper conductors with type SO cord, according to NEC Table 400.5. A might have an ampacity of around 30 amps, depending on the specific insulation and temperature rating. However, this assumes certain conditions are met, such as proper termination and free air circulation. Overloading the cord can lead to overheating and insulation breakdown, creating a fire hazard. 22ndly, always consult the equipment's nameplate for its electrical requirements. The nameplate will specify the voltage, amperage, and power consumption of the equipment. Use this information to select the appropriate size circuit breaker and wiring. Never exceed the equipment's rated capacity. 23rdly, be aware of the potential for voltage drop when using long extension cords. Voltage drop occurs when the voltage at the end of the cord is lower than the voltage at the source. This can cause the equipment to operate inefficiently or even damage it. To minimize voltage drop, use shorter, heavier gauge extension cords. 24thly, when using multiple pieces of equipment on the same circuit, be sure to calculate the total load and ensure that the circuit breaker and wiring are adequately sized. Never overload a circuit. Overloading a circuit can cause the circuit breaker to trip, or worse, it can cause a fire. 25thly, remember that electricity can be dangerous, and it's always best to err on the side of caution. If you are ever unsure about any aspect of electrical safety, consult with a qualified electrician. They can provide expert advice and guidance on how to ensure a safe and compliant work environment. 26thly, consider the specific requirements for floor sanders. Floor sanders often require a dedicated circuit due to their high power consumption. Consult the manufacturer's instructions for specific recommendations on circuit sizing and wiring. Using an undersized circuit can cause the sander to operate poorly or even damage it. 27thly, always use the proper type of cord for the application. Type SO cord is a flexible cord that is suitable for use in damp locations and with portable equipment. However, it is not suitable for use in permanent wiring installations. Using the wrong type of cord can create a safety hazard. 28thly, when connecting equipment to a temporary power source, always use a properly grounded adapter. This ensures that the equipment is properly grounded and reduces the risk of electrical shock. Never remove the grounding pin from an adapter. 29thly, be aware of the potential for arc flash when working around electrical equipment. Arc flash is a dangerous electrical explosion that can occur when there is a short circuit or other fault in the electrical system. Wear appropriate personal protective equipment, such as safety glasses, gloves, and arc-rated clothing when working around electrical equipment. 30thly, always de-energize electrical equipment before performing any maintenance or repair work. This includes turning off the circuit breaker and verifying that the equipment is de-energized with a voltage tester. Lockout-tagout procedures should be followed to prevent accidental re-energization of the equipment. 31stly, when working in damp or wet locations, use GFCI protection and wear rubber gloves and boots. This will help to protect you from electrical shock. Never touch electrical equipment with wet hands. 32ndly, regularly inspect your work area for any potential electrical hazards. Look for frayed cords, cracked insulation, and loose connections. Report any hazards to your supervisor immediately. 33rdly, be aware of the potential for static electricity to build up in certain environments. Static electricity can cause sparks that can ignite flammable materials. Take precautions to prevent static electricity buildup, such as using anti-static mats and wearing anti-static clothing. 34thly, when using ladders around electrical equipment, use non-conductive ladders made of fiberglass or wood. Metal ladders can conduct electricity and create a shock hazard. 35thly, always keep a safe distance from overhead power lines. Overhead power lines can carry thousands of volts of electricity and can be extremely dangerous. Never touch or come into contact with overhead power lines. 36thly, if you see someone who has been shocked by electricity, do not touch them. Call for emergency assistance immediately. Turn off the power source if it is safe to do so. 37thly, remember that electrical safety is everyone's responsibility. By following these safety tips and procedures, you can help to create a safe and compliant work environment for yourself and others. 38thly, prioritize safety above all else. Taking shortcuts or ignoring safety procedures can have serious consequences. Always take the time to do the job right and to ensure that you are working safely. 13. Stay informed about the latest electrical safety standards and best practices. Attend training sessions, read industry publications, and consult with qualified electricians to stay up to date on the latest safety information. 40. By consistently implementing these measures and remaining vigilant about electrical safety, the risk of accidents and injuries can be significantly reduced. Maintaining a safe working environment is not just a matter of compliance, it's a commitment to protecting the well-being of everyone involved in the project. Remember that consistent enforcement of safety protocols and ongoing education are key to preventing dangerous situations.